So, it's been a while, hasn't it? My school term officially ended and another one started because I actually take classes all year long. I take online classes that are set up a little differently than the usual schooling is, I guess. So I am still taking classes, but I'm not at that like crunch period where my term is ending and I have to get things done. And I'm here to talk about the things that I've pretty much been doing for the past few months now. I never made like a February, March, or now that it's the end of April, like an April favorites video. I usually like to just wrap things up at least and mention favorite things from the month for every month. But again, I didn't do that for February or March. So I may do like specific update videos talking about more specifically like the music and the movies that I've been watching that I won't be mentioning here, or I'll just briefly mention here. Also, my camera settings I think are a little different. First of all, my hair is poofy, but no one really cares what my hair looks like. Yeah, I think my camera like updated, I don't know, something updated, it's different. The setting to like count down is no longer available, so sorry if the beginning of this video was weird. Usually I have like a countdown, but instead it just like started recording. Anyway, I can tell it's like going out of focus a lot more. Anyway, I would also like to mention and just say hello to the new subscribers because my last video was my favorite films that are on the Criterion collection, like top 10 list, and that got some attention from outside people that were not familiar with my channel, I'm guessing, and so I got some new subscribers, and I would like to say hello and thank you for subscribing. And so that brings me to some videos that I'm going to be doing soon. I'm going to expand that list, kind of working backwards because I already did my top 10, but doing also like 11 through 20 rankings of my favorite films on the Criterion collection. So if for some reason you didn't watch the first part, then you could just watch the second part first and see it from 20 counting down to 1 instead of 10 through 1 and then 20 through 11. It really doesn't matter. I mean, like, top 20 favorite films on the Criterion collection are your top 20 favorite films on the Criterion collection. There's also some music albums and just music related things that I've gotten recently that I would like to showcase in a video, even though it's all Korean, so I don't really know how many people would actually be interested in that, but I feel like I should give the albums like their time and just show them and kind of promote the artists in a way and just mention them, especially because overall if I bought it, I really like it, so even if I don't mention it here, it's still something that was a favorite perhaps earlier in the year. And so I think music is actually where I'm going to start with this video, that I'm going to be talking about the music and the books and TV shows and then movies that I have been enjoying, like specific favorites, just highlight my favorite things and the standout things from the past few months since it's been a while since I've kind of had this sort of general favorites kind of video. There's been so much new music that's been coming out lately, and I have not been listening to it because I didn't want to distract myself from doing schoolwork, because for me, music can be really distracting. Like, I want it to take up, like, as much as I want to commit my full attention to it, and yeah, so I wasn't listening to a lot of new albums. There are some exceptions to that, but for the most part, I mean, I was really just listening to my EXO playlist. EXO is my favorite K-pop group, and K-pop is Korean pop music. By the way, if for some reason you don't know that, I feel like K-pop is now a term that people are like, I know what that is, instead of like people having to explain it. Anyway, EXO is my favorite group, and actually my favorite like music artist. Yes, officially have taken that spot. And I'm already like familiar with their music and stuff like that, so I can just play it and like still enjoy it, but also be focusing on like assignments and projects that like needed to get done. As well as it's really easy for me to like associate things that are happening at the same time in my life with each other. Yeah, so like I didn't want to listen to a new album, not only because I wanted to give it my full attention and I knew it could be distracting, but I didn't want to associate, like, The Maine, they're my favorite band. They came out with their 7th album at the end of March, and I haven't listened to it yet. For many reasons that I've already mentioned, but also because I don't want to be, like, listening and experiencing the songs for the first time, like, while I'm working on my experimental psychology project or something like that. Because I know later on when I listen to the album, I'd be thinking of that project, like, which is dumb. It's just the way my brain works for some reason, though. Which it can be a good and bad thing, but it's something that I have to be more conscious of sometimes if I don't want something to have a certain association, and I can be controlling of it. Sometimes that's not always the case. It's not always a choice. This is so vague and an unnecessary rant, but I'm probably going to keep it in. But that's just explaining that there's a bunch of stuff that's come out that I haven't really listened to, which is also one of the reasons why there are few favorite music stuff. EXO's always a favorite, but also sort of having to do with EXO is Chen's solo album. This is his debut album. Chen is one of the members of EXO. He's one of the main vocalists. This is so good. It's only a mini album, so it only has 6 songs, right? 6? Yes. It's so good though, and like, it's so chill. And actually, this is one of the albums that I actually did listen to while I was, I couldn't put this off. I had to listen to it when it came out, earlier in the month. It's called April and a Flower. I think this is called the flower version. I'm not 100% sure, but I'll do another video kind of showcasing the albums that I got and talking more about the music that I've been listening to and what I've been not listening to because of school. So there are 6 songs on here. I don't know which is my favorite. I keep on going back and forth. I'll be like, this song plays, and I'll be like, yes, this is my favorite. The next song I'll play, but no, this is my favorite. It's just really good. It doesn't sound too repetitive too, which is nice because they're all ballad songs. So it's just like Chen and the piano and like orchestral instruments, and it's really nice. I don't want to say it's like background music, but it is nice to listen to and just like chill. I can picture people like, I listened to this while I was cooking, and I don't drink, but I can picture people like pouring a glass of wine and cooking their dinner and just like listening to this and winding down. It's that kind of album, I think, which also made it good for working on school stuff and still being able to focus, even though Chen's voice is amazing. Also, I'm just glad that SM like let him do this. Apparently, SM is the company that EXO is under, but Chen wanted to do a solo album, and so SM said yes, which I'm kind of surprised by because SM just has like EXO in their basement. It's a whole thing. I'm not gonna get into it. And then my favorite album this year so far, I mean, we're a third. We're a third into the year. Ew. And this is my favorite album so far. It is Bang YONGGUK's self-titled album. I think technically it's a solo debut, but I'm not 100% sure because he did release solo things beforehand, but he's one of the members of BAP, which is not something I'm going to explain, but BAP did not disband. They're just sort of like on a hiatus. Again, it's a whole thing, but the members are doing solo stuff right now, and so he came out with his album, and this one is not a mini album. So there are 15 songs on it, but 2 of those are instrumentals of other songs that are on the album. And this is also a chill album, but like in a different way. Chen's is more of like a ballad album, and YONGGUK, he's like one of the rappers of BAP, so you can still sort of hear this hip-hop rap influence, but it's still like really chill. Chill is just my favorite thing right now, I guess. It's such a good album. Oh, also I'll link Chen's music video for Beautiful Goodbye, which is the title track of the album. I'll leave that in the description. And I'll also leave YONGGUK has a music video for Hikikomori, which was a single that came out in January, which I talked about in my January favorites video. And then I think it's Portrait that also has a music video, but Portrait it's not one of the instrumental songs, but it is an instrumental song. Like it's more of like an interlude. I think that's the other music video. I could be wrong, but I'll leave music videos in the description. Maybe not YONGGUK's, but I definitely recommend checking out Chen. Especially if you're open to music in different languages, which is something that I don't know why I think that other people that are watching my channel are going to be like closed-minded about it, because if they watch international film, why would they not be open to listening to international music? But I do think that sometimes I say K-pop. See, this is something that I've been thinking about. Maybe I should stop saying K-pop, because like I've been thinking about not saying K-pop anymore and just generalizing it as Korean music, because I think people who are unfamiliar with K-pop could just have a really specific idea of what they think it is, even though it's probably wrong. They just have like a specific idea of what they think K-pop sounds like based on the groups that have gotten mass attention in the West, which is not how every group sounds. And K-pop is already like an umbrella term, and I don't think people realize that. It includes a lot of different genres in the music. And although I do see, then there's the other thing. So those are my reasons as to why I feel like I should say Korean music instead of saying K-pop specifically. But then usually if I'm saying K-pop, I am also referring to it being like an idol or an idol group, like being part of the K-pop system, as opposed to just general music the way that in the West we think about musicians. But like K-pop is a system. It's a whole thing. Everything with K-pop is just a whole thing that apparently I just don't bother explaining fully. I don't know. See, that's the thing. I don't think that many people watching are actually interested in the Korean music or K-pop that I'm listening to, but at the same time, perhaps they've never even actually listened to it. Yeah. Anyway, that's it for music. And then I don't have any books because I haven't been reading. It's just a thing. I'm currently reading like 7 books, I think. I don't know. I need to finish them. I'm thinking about possibly doing like a sort of series on my channel, just being like, hey, here, like the introduction being like, hey, here are the books that I'm in the middle of reading, and then creating a goal to finish them, or officially decide to not finish them and just not continue, not finish them, which is called DNFing in the booktube world. So yeah, and then do like and then do preceding videos talking about the books after I've finished them. So I don't know, perhaps that, but I do know that I need to like finish the books or decide that I'm not going to finish them. I haven't been reading. I have one TV show to mention that I've been casually watching while I was working on school stuff. In January, actually, I finished Buffy and Angel, and I just had this interest of like continuing watching shows with the actors that are in those 2 shows. So I continued with David Boreanaz. Boreanaz? Are there 2 A's? Where's the A? I'm so sorry I don't know his last name, despite watching currently 3 shows that he's in. That's not paying attention to detail, apparently. Anyway, I've continued with him, and now I'm watching Bones, which I'm actually, like, I think I'm in season 9, and there's 12 seasons. I've never watched a show so fast. Usually I take forever, which is why it took me like 2.5 years to watch Buffy and Angel, which is shorter, I think, than Bones. Yet, in a month, I'm on season 9 out of 12. That's insane. And it's just mostly because it's a great show, and I wasn't expecting it to be as good as it is, which is why I was like, I meant for it to be a show that I could just casually watch, but I'm like so attached to the characters, and it keeps you interested. I do think I've hit like a little bit of like a slow point, but I think it'll pick up again. It's kept me so engaged and interested over the first like 8 seasons, you know? Yeah, I just thought it was going to be another one of those detective crime shows that like every network has at least 3 of on at like the same time, you know? There's a lot of shows like that. But I recommend Bones. It's really good. Oh shoot, you know what? I forgot to mention I have pieces of paper here that tells me that I like wrote things on to make sure that I mention, and I forgot to mention 2 music things. So I'm gonna quickly mention that I'm still listening to Bring Me the Horizon's new album, which is called Ammo. It came out in January. They are a British band, so this is not K-pop. Yeah, still super great. Also great on my runs. And then also the only K-pop group that I've been like listening to their new releases is Stray Kids, and I don't even know what their album is called, but they came out with another mini album, and I've been listening to the songs that they've released on it, and that they've released like music videos and performance videos for, and I'm really liking it. And then for movies, it's like the Criterion channel has taken over my life now. Officially, since my term has ended, all of my free time is like going towards the Criterion channel. What I've been watching most is the Adventures in Moviegoing section. I don't know how to, oh no, this is going to be confusing to talk about. And I already feel like I'm being a lot messier than I usually am because it's been a while since I've filmed a video. I feel like out of practice. Yeah, but the Adventures in Moviegoing I really like. Lately I've been wanting to watch more like interviews and just like people talking about, people who love film talking about film. That's it. So I've been watching a lot of the like initial interviews that they have with each person and kind of jumping around each person's catalog of films that they choose to specifically showcase. Yeah, and then in terms of specific movies that I've watched that I have 3/4, 2 of them kind of go together, these would be like my favorite watches so far. One is Grey Gardens from 1975, which is a documentary, and then also like another documentary that kind of goes along with it is the Beales of Grey Gardens from 2006, and so that's why I said like 3 or 4, the 2 kind of go together. I just love Grey Gardens. This is actually, even though it's not the first film that I finished, it's the first film that I started watching because I was like doing something, like the day the Criterion channel launched, I was doing something that I was like, you know, I could be listening to music doing this. Like, it took my attention away from my schoolwork anyway. So I saw it as an opportunity to watch something on the Criterion channel, just to like look through it and just like start using it. So I played Grey Gardens, and mostly because I had already seen it before, and it's a film I already know I like. And this just like cemented my liking of it even more, and I also really enjoyed the Beales of Grey Gardens, but I like that Grey Gardens, that documentary has more of like a structure to it, and it really does seem like it's trying to tell a story more than just documenting their lives. And I was thinking, I was like, why do I only have like 3 or 4 films listed here? And that's because I've been trying to make sure that I'm watching all the supplements of the films that I'm watching. And there are other movies that I've watched that I didn't like as much, and I'm not going to mention here, but I will be mentioning, did I say that I was going to do another video talking about the Criterion channel and what I've watched so far? I don't think I mentioned that, but that's an idea I have for an upcoming video. It'll probably be, I think next I'm going to film well, not next as in right now, but the next thing that I record will be my 11 through 20 favorite films on the Criterion collection, and then sort of like what I've done on the Criterion channel so far, or what I've watched so far, and what I've been enjoying mostly. I mean, I'm enjoying it no matter what. Being able to watch the films and having access to them, yeah, I just love it. So I watched the supplements that are available on the Grey Gardens, like, disc, basically, because the Grey Gardens is one of the collection titles where it says, like, the Criterion releases. I'm not sure actually what the exact, like, section is called, but it's, like, the Criterion ones. where it just has it, like, the spine numbers. And I really like the audio commentary for Grey Gardens. That was nice. And just to get more, like, insight into how it was made and just, like, more information about the Beales and the interaction that they had with the Maysles, who are the directors of the documentaries. And then I also watched the Three Colors trilogy. I liked blue. I didn't like white as much, but I love red. Red is so good. I was starting to be a little disappointed in the Three Colors trilogy because I had heard so many great things about it, and I was like, oh man, I'm not enjoying this as much as I wanted to. And then red just topped it, and I'm so glad it was last, because I think if I had watched it first or even second, then the other ones would have just been, like, even more disappointing. Not to say that it was disappointing, but, like, I was really expecting to love them, especially because Kieslowski, that's the director, I'm pretty sure. I think that's how you say it. Krzysztof Kieslowski, something like that. There was this one lady who was in one of the supplements being interviewed, Annette something. I loved the way that she spoke, but she was, like, pronouncing it really well. And I tried to pronounce it, like, over and over again to get it right, but instead it just ended up being, like, a tongue twister, which you just saw. I really liked the Double Life of Veronique, which came out before the Three Colors trilogy. Yeah, and there are certain scenes from that film that really have stuck out in my mind over time. Red was just it was so much more enjoyable. Let's face it, that's the truth, in my opinion. Yeah, I liked the storyline a lot more. I liked the way that things were, like, connected and there were sort of, like, parallels. I liked the colors more. Just so much of it I liked better. So, yeah. But I do really appreciate blue and white a lot more now that I've watched the supplements that go along with it. And I do like the films more and respect them more. But again, that doesn't have a lot to do with my enjoyment when I was watching them, which is why I'm not mentioning them. Red was clearly the favorite. And then the last film that I'm going to mention is The Fabulous Baron Munchausen, which is from 1962, which I actually realized, like, that could possibly, I don't know that much about this film. All I know for sure is that I want to watch more from this director, whose name I forgot to write down. But yeah, I loved the style of it, and it almost seemed like it was it was made earlier, so now I'm kind of questioning if 1962 is the year that it was released, but not the year it was made. Again, I don't know that much about it, and now I'm gonna have to look more into it. I really liked the way that it was made and the whole style of it, and, like, mixing it. It's almost like mixed media, but it was still like a film. Yeah. Although I guess in a way films are mixed media because you have, like, scores and soundtracks and then also the visual aspect. So that's all I have for this video. I think I mentioned everything. I actually tried to film this once, but I felt like that was too messy, and I liked this version better. But now I'm trying to make sure that I've mentioned everything that I meant to, and trying to figure out if it was in this video or the first time I tried to film this. But I'll leave anything that I need to clarify or that I forgot to mention. I usually put in the description of my videos, so look there. And yeah, so again, thank you for watching, and thank you to new subscribers. And I think the next video will be my rankings for favorite films on the Criterion Collection, 11 through 20. Yeah, hopefully that is the truth, because I've mentioned it, I think, twice now. Let me know, though, what you've been up to, and if you have the Criterion channel, what you've been enjoying, or just, like, what you've been watching, literally anything. Just leave a comment, go ahead. Yeah, so thank you for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!